Gifty, we're currently at one of the main areas just behind the what they call the Odawna Clinic, and the Odawna Medical Clinic is just about 500 meters away from here. The water had receded up to the lintel level, you can't say, and sometimes for many of these residents about halfway their homes. And I can say, while not on camera, that I had visited a number of the homes. Everything is inundated, all property, some had lost money, and you can see many of these residents who currently are here, and they're trying to salvage what they can. They had tried for hours to wade through the water. And all this is because we've now had the overflow of the Odo. Just nearby, we had a gentleman or a resident in the area who is believed to have been electrocuted as a result of the rains. And we've had the National Disaster Management Organization as well as the military come to ensure that they are helping in the rescue effort. We'll speak to officials of NADMO, the military, but what currently is ongoing is try to rescue people, but also retrieve a body that is said to be in one of these flooded homes. And you can see that, look, everybody is at his or her wit's end. They're trying as much as possible to salvage. Look, if you take a look through the current level of the water, it gives you the imagination as to the extent to which many of these homes got flooded. And just close by, we have some metal works, and you could see that even up to the walls had been inundated with water. And just look at the gates right there. The gates, the black gate you're watching, had almost half of it inundated with water up to the end of the walls. We'll try as much as possible to speak to officials of the military who are here. They have been making efforts over the last couple of hours to ensure that they are in a position to help in the rescue effort. I want to speak to Lieutenant Colonel Infum, and good morning to you, sir. I know that you've come here with your team, but which of the regiment of the army are you coming from, sir?
48th Engineer Regiment, please.
And how long have you been here, you and your men, as well as with the help from the police personnel?
We've been around since 0400 hours.
And what was the situation that met your eyes?
The place was quite crowded. We got people trapped in here, so we had to use our boats. We left it out there. We had to use our boat to rescue some of the civilians trapped in here to a safe haven. But for now, we have a dead body in there that we're trying to bring out.
And we also got the news of the dead body. We're told actually there were two, but it's for good reason that we've come here to ascertain for ourselves. What can you tell us about whether we have one or two of the bodies?
I'm not aware of the number of people there. For now, all I know is there's someone trapped in there who is dead. That is all I know for now, but I can't confirm the actual number of dead.
Lieutenant Colonel, have you been able to help people wade through the waters out of their homes?
Yes, we've been able to do as much. When we got here around 0400, we got some people who were trapped in there, so we had to rescue them with our boats. We had about 20 of them in total, rescuing about 20 of them to safe havens.
How many men do you have scattered or deployed in the vicinity?
For this vicinity, we have about 36 of us here. We also sent some people to Ashama general area. But within this jurisdiction, we have about 36 of our guys here.
Well, good work you're doing. Let's go speak to the Member of Parliament for the area, and then we'll come back to you. But before we get there, you can see that the Odawna area is a hub for mechanics, repair, rehabilitation of used cars, new cars, imported cars, and it's where you find many people who try to ply their trade. They hustle through the times each day of life and try to make it as much as they can. And one person who has inherited this is the Member of Parliament for the area, Dr. Zaneto Rollins, would want to speak to her. Indeed, we got news from a number of residents in the area that she'd been around the constituency for a number of hours now. Now, good morning to you, Dr. Zaneto Rollins.
Good morning.
And when you first came here, what was the current situation or the situation at the time?
The water level was really high, and actually what happened was the water level rose before the rains even got to this area, which means that we have a real problem we're dealing with. We know that around June this is what tends to happen, but this is the worst we've seen in many years. And I think one of the main problems is that bottleneck around the Agboboloshi market area. So when the water fills up the Odo, instead of moving towards the sea, it forms like a dam and it comes back. And what you see here is just devastating, We've had about, I think 2 deaths have been reported so far. There's a drain here that was being done. This is Odawna garages we're in right now. The drain has not been completed. It's narrower than it should be for the volume of water. And we find ourselves here again. And there are lots of angry residents. As you go around, people are angry. And, I heard a couple of people saying, don't even think of bringing us mosquito nets and blankets, because that's not the solution. And they are right. If every year this is what is happening, the frustration that people are going through, the destruction of not just lives, but people's livelihoods as well. We can't have a perennial destruction of people's livelihoods and lives. It's just not right.
Myself, I had to wade through the water, my phones, my trousers halfway before I could get here because before you come here, here is in the middle, and before you come here you have to wade through water.
Right.
And the military had to use their boats, even they are wet. Yeah. But for the resident constantly, even prior to now, who had been making complaints, what had you been telling the authorities as a member of parliament representing them? Actually,
last year we had a town hall meeting where we invited the Minister for Works and Housing, because that's the ministry that's responsible for the huge drain, the Odo, and in Asylum Down as well. And he did give us his word that the work would be started in time to relieve the level of flooding that we're having here. And unfortunately, that's not happened yet. But I would really like to extend my gratitude to the 48 engineers for the amazing job that they've done here, just rescuing the people who were stranded in their homes, and for the police who have also come to the rescue. They've really helped the fort since the flooding started.
We've always had estimates, and indeed, on the private side, I've been involved in various companies that had been working closely with the Ministry of Works and Housing to find some solution to the downstream sector of the Odo, to make sure the residents and the drainage itself is expanded to be able to contain water. How deeply have you known whatever information or discussion so far to make sure we see an end to this?
Well, I'm not involved in the technical aspect of things, but definitely what we see from our experience is that the whole situation needs to be re-engineered. There are certain aspects of our lives as Ghanaians that we need to look at, which includes the poor management of waste when it comes to dumping waste in the waterways, people also building structures in waterways. All of these are contributing to some of these problems we're seeing here. And we need action to be taken, because it's not enough for us to keep coming around every year and saying sorry to people. It's not acceptable. We really need really drastic action, and we like to call on the government to really step in and take the necessary action to prevent this, because this is the first heavy downpour, and it was only for 30 minutes. The rain started in the mountains, and this is what we're seeing. So imagine what happens when it actually rains a lot more here. We really have to have some kind of permanent solution to this.
I see you holding a megaphone. What was it for?
Unfortunately, when you have a situation like this, people tend to forget the protocols with regards to the distancing with the COVID-19. Of course, people had to rush out of their homes. They don't have masks. So it's just to remind people that in spite of the emergency right now, there is also the underlying health crisis, which is the pandemic, so that people remember to just give that distancing, because in these situations, you don't actually think about all these things. You just have your mind on maybe the immediate situation. So it's just to remind people to maintain the spacing.
I've seen some NADMO representatives. Are they just personnel, or you have their heads also available here?
No. They're the NADMO within the municipality, actually. So they're part of the municipal. Right.
We'll leave you try and wade through the water and get some insight into what the situation is. But how were you using the megaphones? If you can just display it for us, we'll be happy.
You just switch it on and then you speak into it. And if people aren't
what were the messages you were bellowing through?
Well, mostly that people should maintain social distancing. Those who don't need to be in the vicinity should move. And those who don't wear masks, who aren't wearing masks but are close, should just open up. so that we at least don't have a situation where we have a huge surge in the number of cases as a result of this disaster. So we have it's quite tragic, but we can't have you going there at the moment because there's a dead body.
I won't get near.
Okay.
I'll just get close enough to be safe.
Okay.
I've already waded through water and gutters and falling through. My phones are off.
Thank you.
But we'll get back to you. We'll try to go straight to the personnel and speak to them individually to get their experiences and not to go far. But this is the current situation. I've been told by way of caution. Indeed, you can see me. I had to remove my shoes. I came back well dressed. Like somebody who needed to wade through flood waters. In the studio, I was rightly dressed with a shoe, everything, but when the situation arises, this is what you get. 25 years of great experience, 25 years of impactful journalism. That's what Joy News gives you, and we're live here at Odawna, and it's where you're getting a situation where we have the personnel of the 48th Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces who had been here since 4 o'clock. They call it 400 hours GMT. I decided to call it 4 o'clock in the morning. That's more Ghanaian, I believe. But at the end of the day, there is a suspected case of a dead body in there. One or two, the military and the personnel of the National Disaster Management Organization, a couple of the personnel of the police, are still not sure how many people in there, and the camera lenses will take you straight. The number of the residences in the area, not necessarily of this household, who are helping to make sure they keep the situation under wraps. It's a situation they have been inundated with, have associated themselves with over the last couple of hours. They have been doing that just because they had to salvage whatever is left. Indeed, when you go to some of these homes that we'll show you later right here on the show, there's nothing to salvage in reality. So I've been cautioned not to go near. I believe this is my barrier. I'll try as much as possible, and then also try to get some of the insight. And this is the situation. Officials of NADMO in there, and then we'll try as much as possible to get some of the situations as they have. Well, we'll try and speak to officials of the area to get to know the efforts that are being made. But let me just get you to some of the insights that we can have, and I will speak to the assembly representative of the area, not more officials in there. But let me ask your name in the first place. This is an emergency, and this is, I believe you work with the National Disaster Management Organization.
Yes, my name is Daniel Odeyapia, the Municipal Director for NADMO Kolekolote Municipal Assembly. And this has been one of the awful emergencies we've encountered in the municipal so far. About 1 a.m. we started having a situational report on the ground as to how the flood was actually ravaging lives and properties over here. Now, what happened was the place got flooded before it started raining in our house, and it means that it rained from a breeze coming down. And as we know, whenever it rains like that over there, the water runs down here and it gets our place flooded. So a little downpour in our area gets our place flooded badly, and that's what has actually happened. And it is so sad seeing how lives and properties have been affected badly. Unfortunately, we've had some life claimed by this flood as a result of electrocution, which of course, since about 1:30, we started calling electricity to put off the lights. It was so unfortunate that they were waiting to get response or directives from their headquarters and the like, and they delayed in putting the light off, and that's what has caused the life over here. So it's so bad. And again, the situation is also partly as a result of they trying to rescue their properties from the flood. And we have been advising and sensitizing people against that thing, that when your place is flooded, don't try to rescue your properties. Try to have a safe place to save yourself before you turn to your properties. So again and again, we appeal to the public that we are in the rainy season. When you are in a lowland or a flood-prone area, whenever you have information that it's going to rain, first and foremost, don't wait till the rain sets in. Have a place for your property and make sure that you have a haven or a safe place to save yourself. You see, and that is what we are advising at the moment, because from now till about ending of July into August, it's going to be raining. And we have an indication that it's going to be raining heavily. So we don't want lives and property to be affected badly like we are seeing now. So let's all protect ourselves. Let's all guard against some of such occurrences going forward. Thank you very much.
Well, that's Daniel Appiah, right?
Odawna
Appiah, the Municipal Director for the National Disaster Management Organization. And let me tell you, I'll be speaking to the Municipal Chief Executive for Korle Klottey. Earlier, we spoke to the Member of Parliament for Korle Klottey, and you can see that many of these cars, indeed, very nice cars, it's Land Cruiser, as you can see on your screens. And as far as well related, this is spoiled. Clearly inundated with water. Now has to be salvaged, but we will speak to the Chief Executive of the Korle Klottey Municipal Assembly, Daniel Ni Ajay Tawia.
No, not Daniel.
Ni Ajay Tawia, Samuel Ni Ajay Tawia, and Ni Ajay Tawia. If you take the perennial difficulties that your residents, your inhabitants within the municipality have to go through, it would mean that we should have been more proactive than reactive, even though we know it's an annual situation.
Yes, I think we were. A lot has been done. But the rainfall, should I say last night, especially in the mountain areas, was beyond what it has been in recent times. We have done a lot. So in fact, the recent rains, we've not had such a problem, but yesterday's or last night was a very massive one, and that is why it has led to all this.
But we know you have all the right offices in your assembly. You have NADMO, you have Environmental Health Officer, etc. You should be working closely with the weather forecasters, the Ghana Meteo Agency.
Yes. You see, this particular situation we have here this morning is as a result of rainwater from further, maybe from the mountain area. So even before 1 a.m. this morning, we had calls that the drain is almost full. So the little rain over here led to what we are saying today. So in fact, normally when it starts raining here, people here, they also know. So they move out, they go to higher levels, grounds, let's say towards City FM or beyond. But this one took all of them by surprise. So they were not able to put things in their right place, and some of them were indoors. So that is what has created.
So what now?
Oh, well, we will continue to do what we are doing to make sure that if it rains, enough of the water will get easy access into the main drain. So that is what we are doing. Yeah.
Well, this right here is on the AM show, but it's Joy News Live on Facebook, Joy News on TV. We're also on Twitter at Joy News on TV. Joy News TV is indeed our official YouTube channel. You can get all these updates on myjohnline.com. It's live coverage of the flooding situation in Accra. We'll connect straight away to Maxwell Agbagba, and then you get again the perspective as to what is happening in Achimota. We'll come back here. We have all the officials here, personnel from the 48th Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces, the Member of Parliament for the area, Korle Klottey, Dr. Zanato Rollins, the NADMO officials all here. Now back to the studio, and then you get all the latest updates.
Thank you.
Well, Roland, we are live from Achimota, as you rightly stated. Well, this is the situation here at Achimota. The rain water, the flood water actually left in its trail the destruction of makeshift structures. Now, if you come here to Achimota, you see many of those destroyed makeshift structures lying on the side of the road. Even as we stand very close to the storm drain, you can see, carpet, you can see buckets, you can see personal effects of people, you know, just running in this storm drain, and then we really cannot tell where all of this is going to end up. But this is the situation here. But quite astonishing is this sprinter, which is stuck here in this drainage system. We are told that the flood water, the power of the flood water actually dragged this vehicle about 200 meters, and it got stuck here at this point. That tells you the sheer force of the flood water and the rains that we experienced yesterday, and then some this early this morning. So this is the Achimota drain, and we have with us the man who owns the vehicle that is stuck in here in this drainage system. I want to find out from him exactly what happened. Sir, you're welcome to join me.
Thank you very much.
This is your car and it's stuck in here in this drainage system. Yeah. Tell us, what happened?
Thank you very much. I'm David Agbuado, the PR of Concerned Drivers Association of Ghana. Okay. But what I had this dawn, around 1:30, was my phone was ringing. And when I picked the call, it was my driver that calls me that my vehicle had been taken by the flood from about 200 to 300 meters from this place. And the vehicle is parked on that lane, lead to Aquitema Palace, the Chief's Palace, this there. And then the vehicle was carried by the flood from that end into this bridge. And it's very, I don't know how to put,
okay.
I don't know how to put it, because I'm surprised. A vehicle that has been carried by flood more than 300 meters down to this gutter. I don't know how to explain it, and it's over me. I don't know how to explain it, but.
Well, so why did your driver park the vehicle yesterday?
I parked it on the street that I'm calling. It leads to the palace of the Achimota chief. Yeah, let me put it this way: the chief of Achimota. It leads the other road that leads to the palace. That's where the driver parked the vehicle. And very unfortunately, my vehicle is heavier than the taxi cab, but the taxi cab got stuck at the small gutter over there before mine was pulled down here.
No, I mean, literally, it's your sweat that has gone down the drain here, stuck in the drain here. Yeah. Tell me, this vehicle, I mean, I'm sure it does the round for you, gets money for you to feed your family. It's your source of livelihood, I want to believe.
Yes. You know, it's transport that I run. Transport business is what I do. And this is one of them. And he also adds to feeding of my families, both my nuclear and extended family. Because as we know, Ghana, we do by this Ebusiapenyi something. And I'm the assistant to the head of the family. So I'm the second to the Ebusiapenyi. So I'm Ebusiapenyi Ketwa, as we will always say it. And you know, the family depends on you heavily. Another thing. So, yeah. Yeah, so we depend on ourselves in Ghana here. As you can see, the vehicle is stuck here. And most of my family members, including my children, are going to stuck for some time if insurance doesn't come in. Yeah.
Are there any efforts to at least get it out of this drainage system?
Yeah, that's why I went to Texana Police Station to go and report. And we brought this towing car to come and pull it and then tow it to safer place. Yeah.
But did you live around?
Yeah, I'm at Abeka. I live at Abeka.
What's the situation at Abeka?
At my end there, it's also close to a flood area like this, but I didn't know anything going on over there because of the tension on me over here. I didn't hear anything. Till I go back, if I hear something, once I have link with media, I'll get you people informed.
I'm so sorry for this. God will definitely make a way, yeah? Okay, thanks so much for speaking to us. Chief, you're welcome to join me.
Okay, we are here yesterday night. We saw it was raining. And when we get to the Achimota railways, the rain has taken the railways down there. We saw a little children there. One of the children was dead. But we didn't see his parents, either his mother or his father. So we didn't see that was what happened here.
Wait, you saw a dead child where?
Yeah, at the railways there. We saw a little child, but he was dead. But didn't get his mother and his father. There was no parents there, so...
Are you able to tell us, guess the child's age?
I'm a driver at the Achimota station.
Okay. But what happened? Is it a flood water that carried that carried the body there, or maybe something happened to it?
Yeah, it's the flooding water that carried the baby there. The baby was inside a kiosk. When it was raining, then the rain took the so what we see that the baby was outside the park.
Okay. And you're saying a section of the rail line has also been carried away? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. It was carrying away things and some people's car and men made those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We'll verify all these things you're telling us, but thanks so much for the information. So this is the situation here. Let's give you a good view of the destruction that has been caused here. Let's give you an idea of what it is like. So if you see this stretch of road, this is very close to the overpass here. And it links all the way, goes all the way to the Central Business District, to Accra, to Kesano and its environs. But what we want to show you is a traffic situation that is building on this side of the road because of the flood. Now, we are told that this mirrors the situation when you go, a bit further in there. People coming all the way from Pokwasi and its environs are having quite a hard time getting through this traffic. But once they make it, it's a bit okay, up there. But from this point, it's now a struggle. The road has actually been reduced because some portions of it has become muddy as a result of the rains. So these vehicles would have to take their time to navigate this mud, to go through it carefully before. And this has created, some kind of traffic situation here all the way leading to Pokwase and its environs. So what you can see right now in the picture is the destruction that has been caused by the rains. A lot of makeshift structures were actually washed into the drain. And what we can see is that we've seen some of the owners getting closer and trying to salvage, some of the things that they can find. I've seen a man trying to collect some of the wood here, and he tells me that he's going to reconstruct, the building. So